Okay, let's talk about your homework for a second. I have all the answers here, and if I go a little too fast, just hit pause on the video and you can check it out at the end. Alright, so we're going to always look for the largest perfect square factor that'll divide into our number. Here we have 18, so we're going to break it up into 9 times 2. We know the square root of 9 is 3, so this simplifies to 3 roots of 2. The next one is the square root of 300, which can break down into 100 times 3. We know the square root of 100 is 10, so it simplifies to 10 roots of 3. 810 is 81 times 10. The square root of 81 is 9, so it's 9 roots of 10. 80, if you thought about it, is 16 times 5, and the square root of 16 is 4. But if you broke it down into 4 times 20, then you'd have to break that 20 down into 4 times 5. So whenever we have the 2, 4 times 4 is 16, so we know the square root of 16 is 4. We talked about that yesterday. A square root times itself is just the number. Square root of 48 is 16 times 3. The square root of 16 is 4, so it's 4 roots of 3. 4,500 is 100 times 9 times 5. Well, the square root of 100 is 10, and the square root of 9 is 3, and 3 times 10 leaves us with 30 roots of 5. The square root of 50 can break down into 25 times 2. The square root of 25 is 5. Well, we already had a 5 out there, so it becomes 5 times 5 is 25 roots of 2. The square root of 54 can break down to 9 times 6. When we take the square root of 9, it gives us 3, but we already had the 4, so we get 3 times 4 gives us 12 roots of 6. On this one, it's easiest to multiply first, because when we do, it gives us a perfect square, and the square root of 36 is 6. The next one, I went ahead and multiplied them first. You could have simplified them first. We talked yesterday about how many different ways there are to do these problems correctly. But I multiplied them and got 300. I broke 300 down into 100 times 3. The square root of 100 is 10, so this is 10 roots of 3. The next one, I went ahead and multiplied them and got the square root of 800. The square root of 800 I broke down into 400 times 2. The square root of 400 is 20, so this gives me 20 roots of 2. The next one, 15 times 20, is 300. The square root of 300 you could break down into 100 times 3, which gives us 10 roots of 3, or we could have broken them down first. If we break down 20 into 4 times 5, that gives us 2 roots of 5. Well, now when we combine the radical part, we get 2 times the square root of 3 times the square root of 5 times the square root of 5. So we have the 2 5s. When we multiply square root times itself, it's just the number, so we can bring out the 5, and 5 times 2 is 10 roots of 3. So either way, you get the same thing. On the next row, I did it both ways. This one I factored first. I could take the square root of 9, it is 3. I could take the square root of 4, it is 2. And then I'm left with the 2 3's, so I get another 3. Or we can multiply it and get 324, and the square root of that is 18. Either way, we get 18. On this one, we could break the 90 down into 9 times 10. The square root of 9 is 3. That's where the 3 comes from. And then if I broke the 10 down into 2 times 5 and the 15 down into 5 times 3, we have the 2 5's, so we can pull out the 5. 5 times 6 is 30, so it's 30 roots of 6. The 2 times 3 gave us the 6. On this one, the 3 times the 5 gives us a 15. Then we can break down the 14, break down the 21. So 2 times 7 and 7 times 3, we have the 2 7's, so we can bring out the 7. So it's 105 roots of 6. We're going to continue the same process as here. The 2 times 3 makes 6. We break the 75 down, break the 6 down. We got the square root of 25 is 5. We have the 2 3's, so we can pull out the 3. 6 times 5 times 3 is 90 roots of 2. On this one, we can break it down, pull it out, and this is going to work the same way on this one too. So take a look at these two answers. On 19, we can just divide these nicely. On 20, we can't take the square root of 5. We don't know it, but we can take the square root of 16. So as long as we don't have that radical in the denominator anymore, we're fine. Like on 21, we're fine because we can take the square root of 4. But on 22, we have to start multiplying the numerator and denominator by that radical that's in the denominator. Remember, square root of 2 over square root of 2 really has a value of 1, so we're not changing the value of the expression, we're just changing its form so that we no longer have a radical in the denominator. So it gives us 3 roots of 2 over 2. So on this one, we can simplify the 4, but we still have a radical 5, so we multiply by radical 5 over radical 5, so it's 2 roots of 5 over 5. On this one, we can simplify the 20. 20 breaks down to 4 times 5, so it's 2 roots of 5. And then we multiply the top and bottom by square root of 3, so we get 2 roots of 15, because root 5 times root 3 is 15 over 3. On this one, we just multiply the top and bottom by square root of 3. Okay, today we're going to be adding and subtracting. First, we're going to simplify our radicals completely, and then we just add or subtract like radicals. Just like with variables, we add and subtract like variables, we do the same thing here. So we'll break down the 12 into 4 times 3. So we're going to pull out that 2. So this becomes 4 times the square root of 3. The 48 we can break down into 16 times 3. So we can pull out the 4. So this is another 4 roots of 3. Well, because they're both times the square root of 3, we can add them. 4 roots of 3 plus 4 more roots of 3 is 8 roots of 3. Okay, so number 4. We break 54 down into 9 times 6. The square root of 9 is 3, so we bring out the 3. So this is 12 roots of 6. This breaks down, the 24, breaks down into 4 times 6. So the square root of 4 is 2. So this becomes 2 roots of 6. So if we had 12 roots of 6 and took away 2 roots of 6, that simplifies to 10 roots of 6. Okay, 63 will break down into 9 times 7. And 28 will break down into 4 times 7. So this is 3 roots of 7 and 4 roots of 7. So 3 roots of 7 plus 4 roots of 7 gives us 7 roots of 7. The 50 will break down into 25 times 2, 32 will break down into 16 times 2, and 75 will break down into 25 times 3. Square root of 25 is 5, square root of 16 is 4, square root of 25 is 5. So this is 10 roots of 2 plus 4 roots of 2 minus 5 roots of 3. So we can only combine the first two. They're the ones that are alike. So this is 14 roots of 2 minus 5 roots of 3. That's all we can do. That is our answer. Okay, 96 will break down into 16 times 6. 80 will break down into 16 times 5. And 27 will break down into 9 times 3. So this becomes 4 roots of 6 minus 4 roots of 5 minus 3 roots of 3. And because each radical is different, we cannot combine any more terms. We are done. You could list them in order from, this is a positive, a positive. You could go from least radical to greatest. So you could write it like this: 3 roots of 3 minus 4 roots of 5 plus 4 roots of 6. All right, so this is going to break down into 4 and 3. So we take out the 2, and we get 6 roots of 3. 27 breaks down into 9 times 3, so we pull out the 3. So we get 6 roots of 3. 48 breaks down into 16 and 3, so we pull out the 16. We'll take the square root of 16, and so we pull out the 4. And we get 4 roots of 3. So 12 take away 4 leaves us 8 roots of 3. Okay, you go ahead and try number 7. So you try this. So let's go ahead and hit pause in the video and give you a moment to try. And when the class is ready, hit play again. Okay, so this breaks down into 25 times 3. This breaks down into 4 times 7. This breaks down into 25 and 2. And this breaks down into 9 times 7. So when we bring out the 5, we get 10 roots of 3. When we bring out the 4, we get 6 roots of 7. When we bring out the 5, we get 5 roots of 2. And when we bring out the 9, we get 3 roots of 7. So we have the negative 6 roots of 7 and negative 3 roots of 7, so we can combine those. So if we put it in order from least radical to greatest radical, we would combine these two and get negative 9 roots of 7. We're going to skip number 8 for today. We don't have one like this. We don't need to skip this. Never mind. We can do this. Okay, we're going to distribute the 3. We're going to distribute the negative 5. When we distribute the 3, we get 12 minus 6 roots of 5. And when we distribute the negative 5, we get negative 3 roots of 5. And negative square root of 5 times square root of 5. When we multiply a radical by itself, we just get 5. So 12 minus 5 is 7. And when we combine these, we get negative 5. You guys can do that because we did multiplication yesterday. So we didn't need to skip number 8 after all. All right, you have a worksheet to work on for the remainder of the period. What you do not finish becomes homework, and we will see you Tuesday.